Hello, hello, hello. This is Misty Magdalena Grace with the new and improved version of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, where we talk about spirituality, psychedelics, plant medicine, microdosing, and really that journey within to finding your best innate wisdom, to your best health, your best wealth through all sorts of inner child healing, trauma release, grief recovery, overcoming addictions, and working with the mind, the body, and spirit. So go ahead, leave a review, subscribe, download. We look forward to your feedback. Thanks for tuning in today. Hey, happy Friday, everyone. As of this recording, it's early September, and we've kicked off an amazing month. And so if you're just joining me, maybe for the first time, I'm Magdalena Grace. This is my podcast, and this is my fifth year where it's been Suicide Awareness Month and focusing on my passion, my own journey with that, my loss, my grief, and also it's Recovery Awareness Month. I never knew that until a week or two ago, when someone, as I was sharing the information about this and sharing the information about our upcoming fundraising event, focusing on people who've lost people to suicide and addiction-related deaths, someone told me that, and I was immediately like, okay, I got to have someone powerful and amazing on my show, and Natalie is that person. So I'm so excited to have you here today, Natalie, and just want to give people a couple reminders if you're tuning in live or on the replay. If you see value in this show, knowing that we're talking about recovery, sobriety, hope, healing, we definitely would love for you to share this, because sharing is caring. You never know when this message may save a life or may breathe life into someone who is really struggling right now with mental health, addiction, and just so much happening in this universe, in this world right now. And so I have talked quite openly about my own journey with addiction to alcohol, social media, workaholism. I feel like I had so many isms behind my name for a while that my identity was shattered, and I lost myself within that. And so along the way, as I healed and started meeting people like Natalie, it just became so encouraging and uplifting to have open discussions about this, because I think there's a bit of a stigma, not only about suicide, but also addiction. And so our goal here on this podcast this month is to help break the stigma of both of those things and have open conversations. So Natalie is my client, friend. She's an intuitive and holistic minded body worker based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. She's also the co-founder of a bi-monthly sober sauna party, and she's going to tell you all about that. And it's called Sauna and Sobriety. So she's passionate about sobriety, and she's going to share her own recovery journey. And a lot of that, of course, we have some things in common, is our faith and our connection to Mary Magdalene and Jesus, and all of these things that are coming through on the planet right now. It's very exciting to have you here today, Natalie, to share your heart and your story.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
And on that, just go ahead and dive right in. Tell us your story and how you got to be where you are today.
Cool. Yeah. Let's dive right in. So, okay. My story goes back to when I was a little kid. When you asked me to be on the podcast, I started thinking okay, what really is my story? When did this really start? And ever since I can remember, I have really struggled with mental health. I really struggled with mental health and thoughts of, and I'm really, this is actually the first time that I'm really sharing this, in a very public way, but I've struggled with thoughts of suicide all my whole life. Again, ever since I was a little kid. And I was put in therapy when I was young and put on meds when I was 12 years old. And then when I was 18, I just kind of intuitively decided this isn't this isn't right for me. I would kind of rather have the ups and downs as opposed to this flat line feeling nothing. And then that sparked, part of my spiritual path. And I say, my mental health, my mental illness, I guess, has been a major catalyst for my spiritual journey at large. because it's just been such a overshadowing aspect of my life. Again, ever since I was little, the most comforting thought was like, I just can't wait to go home. I just can't wait to go home to heaven. What is, I don't want to be here. And that has just been a constant thought for me, up until the last 2 years, when I feel like I've really been given the chance to dive into my recovery work. I started body work when I was 18, been like an intuitive kind of my whole life. And yeah, I got into body work when I was 18, got into energy healing when I was like 23, 24, went on this like epic travel around the country, was living out of my car. And then it was then when I actually, let me back up a little bit. I want to say I was traveling around the country in my car. I can see now I've tried to run away from my problems for a long time, and go figure, everywhere you go, there you are. So that pain was still with me even when I was traveling. And it was during that time, I was like, this was actually during COVID. I decided to, okay, get the car, get the van, go on the travels, do the thing. I wanted to, like, this was something I wanted to do since I was like 20 years old. And so I did, and it was on these travels that and then again, I never thought that I would ever be saying this, but I am a born again Christian, and I I got to know Jesus on my travels, and he definitely pulled me into recovery, into my work with recovery. So on my travels, I found the rooms of ACA, which stands for Adult Child of Alcoholics, or family dysfunction. I landed in the rooms of AA. I don't resonate with alcoholism. However, someone in one of the meetings once was like, "Well, someone brought you here. Something's bringing you here, so you might as well stay." So I gave, I went to a few AA meetings. I landed in the rooms of CODA, and so I really started diving into my work with recovery, with Christ by my side, and thinking back again, reflecting on my story, it's really painful. It's really painful to think about. Gosh, before I started traveling, before I knew Christ, before I was in the doors of recovery, I look back at pictures of myself, and I see this girl. I see this really hurting person that wanted to die, that didn't want to live, like her eyes were dead. And it's, yeah, I'm having a lot of compassion for this person. I'm recognizing lately I can be, still pretty critical of that person. But of course, that is the work in recovery, is recognizing, that criticism and having compassion for that hurting person. And that person that had what I used to call this evil witch live in my head, that actually would tell me, you deserve to die. You actually don't deserve to live. You shouldn't be alive. Like these are the thoughts that I've really, really, really struggled with. And it wasn't until recovery and Christ came into my life and said, here's my hand. Take it, walk with me. Let's go. There's a better life for you. And so that's where I kind of land. And I'm so, so, so grateful to be here. It's been so much hard work. It is still hard work. I mean, gosh, I had a therapy session today, and my therapist was like, I don't think that you're ever fully recovered. We're always working towards, progress, not perfection. So, yeah, that's kind of in a short form is my story. So I'm really just grateful to be actually alive, sharing this here today. It's a big blessing. So thank you for holding the space for this as well.
Oh yeah, you know me. I love helping people get out of their comfort zone,
Yep.
and
Yep.
we'll maybe talk about that more later. But so first of all, just want to acknowledge you, because I remember I started sharing my truth about my closet alcoholism and my drinking and just to escape, social meeting to escape. I mean, just I had such a quote unquote, I don't use this anymore. Personally, language matters to me, and I don't believe addictive personalities exist. It's more of the trauma that's inside that is causing us to grasp for the thing. It's not a disorder post, you know, in my mind, it's just more of if you, as within without, you know, as you said, we don't know what we don't know until we go on that inner journey. And so when I started sharing about my own suicidal thoughts, about my own addictions, I had a lot of shame and a lot of fear. So I just want to acknowledge you for being, you know, so faithful and committed to helping others to be able to share your story. Because when you share your story, you give permission to others for them to do the same, so they don't feel alone, and they feel seen and heard in their own way just by you being seen and heard. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
And I'm
you.
curious, so people know, so,
Yeah.
and to clarify too, because I think it's really cool that you didn't identify with alcoholism yet.
Yeah.
You are in and co-founded Sauna and Sobriety. So maybe talk about how did that foundation or your, you know, the organization and co-founding of that took place.
Totally. Yeah. Sauna and Sobriety is awesome. And God is awesome and so smart. I always say this to people at Sauna and Sobriety. They're like, or whenever anybody asks me, how did Sauna and Sobriety start? I'm like, well, God is no dummy. God is not stupid. And so definitely this is a co-creation of the celebration of the work that we do in recovery. So that's Sauna and Sobriety in a nutshell. My friend and co-founder, Jen Gilhoy, she recently changed her name, but for
I know how that is.
okay, yep. Sorry, Jen. But yeah, so Jen and we met in the sauna, and this was after I had gotten back from my travels, my first winter back in Minneapolis, and one of my friends had brought me to Embrace North, a super awesome sauna facility space here in Minneapolis, back when they were in Linden Hills, and then they had to move, and then I ended up meeting Jen at what is now known as Superior Sauna. It's over in South Minneapolis, and I just remember seeing her and meeting her in the sauna and saying, like, we just like clicked right away. It was a no-brainer. I'm like, I love this chick. I love her mission. I love what she's about. She's all about bringing non-alcoholic options to bigger spaces and making that a norm, like really bringing this option into like corporate settings, you know, corporate events, big parties, weddings, all those spaces. So I loved what she was about. And at this time I had going to a few AA meetings, I had decided to let go of alcohol and just know that it was not for me at that time. And so when I met her in the sauna, we started connecting, and she started inviting me to. We were just kind of at this time it was like these sober sauna get-togethers that we would be holding, or they would be held at our friend Darren's house. He owns Urban Wing Sauna. And so, yeah, she'd bring the non-alcoholic drinks. Darren would hold the space, fire up the saunas, and we'd get together, a couple people get together, just have a great time. And then my birthday came rolling around, my 29th birthday, and I decided to throw a party. And Darren, again, allowed me to hold a party. It's like rager party at his home. So, and it was totally sober. It was a no alcohol event, and we had the most fantastic time. It was so awesome. Like Jen brought some non-alcoholic beverages. I, of course, brought food. Darren graciously allowed us to use his saunas, and it was like a full night of awesomeness. And then, a couple weeks after that, and this is my experience of, how this all came to be. I was just sitting in front of my computer, and all of a sudden God just spoke to me. My higher power spoke to me and said, Natalie, you do a lot of hard work in your recovery journey. Throw a party and call it Sauna and Sobriety. And I was like, whoa, what? Okay. So I texted my friend Fong. He owns Greenway Yoga. He's a fantastic, I love taking his classes. I just love his heart. I love the style that he leads. And I texted him like, hey, yo, I just got this message. Do you want to throw a party with me? I'm going to reach out to Jen. I'm going to reach out to my friend Paige. We're going to reach out to, we got Phil with Nomad Sauna, and we threw our first sauna and sobriety party May 5th of 20, gosh, was it? I can't even remember the years now. What year are we even in? Is it 2022 that we threw it? Or 2023? Forgive me. I can't even remember. But we threw our first party then, and it was a blast. We, of course, had saunas on site. We had Nomad saunas on site. Phil led us through, Fong led us through an awesome yoga class centered around recovery and like being together as a group. I led us through some hypnotherapy. Of course, Jen brought the NA beverages, and we just had an awesome night. And then people throughout the night were like, you guys should do this again. I think you should have another one. And so Jen and I were like, well, do you want to do this? Like, do you want to keep going? Because I think we're onto something here. And and so we did. We threw another one. Darren's house, Urban Wing, and the following two were at Darren's house. And it just really started so organically like that. And we were just like, hey, you guys, we're doing this thing. This is for people who are either in the rooms of recovery, whether that be AA, NA, CODA, SLA, ACA, whatever recovery group you're working, come party with us. We deserve to celebrate our hard work that we do in recovery. It also encompasses people that are sober curious, that want to just see what does a sober party even look like? What does a night without drugs or alcohol being at the center look like? And people who are, supporting their friend in recovery. We're really open to just inviting people into what celebrating out loud our recovery looks like. So they're super fun. They happen bi-monthly. The format of them kind of now is Jen and I bring the party. So Jen brings the beverages. I make the food. We reach out, or people, different sauna owners reach out to us at this point now, which is so awesome. And they hold the space. We bring the party, we bring the celebration, and we just 4 hours of us celebrating the work that we do in recovery. It's important. We really take a celebratory approach to recovery. Jen and I have had so many conversations, and other people have had conversations individually with Jen and I about, I'm sick of saying, hi, I'm so-and-so and I'm an alcoholic, and just really repeating that story to themselves over and over and over again. And we're out here saying, hey, listen, we're in recovery and we get to do this in community. And we're recovering. We're taking the steps forward to better ourselves every day. So a part of Sauna and Sobriety too is we bring in wellness leaders. So we've had sound healers, we've had yoga instructors, we've had breathwork facilitators, dance, someone brought in a dance workshop. So we always love to bring in movement, because we also believe movement is a core part of recovery, getting in your body, moving energy through, wellness in community. So that is Sauna and Sobriety. It's a blast. It's I kind of had this list of things that I identify with: intuitive bodyworker, energy healer, la la la. All of a sudden I'm an event planner. And that's how it goes. Right? So that's that. I can't hear you.
Yep, I was muted on purpose, so I apologize. I said I love it. I can't wait to attend sometime. That sounds amazing, and sounds like if anybody wants to reach out to Natalie and hear more, I think that is a beautiful thing. Because I will say this, like, I know AA didn't work for my brother, and there's so many people out there who struggle even with that label. Anytime we label ourselves an alcoholic or a drug addict or anything, I think there's still some energy behind the reinforcement of that. And so I don't know if you could talk a little bit. You sort of alluded to this about the physical.
Mm-hmm.
I work with mind, body, spirit medicine with all of my clients, because it's so important to hit the mental, the physical, and the spiritual. So if you want to expand upon how important the physical components are to mental wellness or in anything within sauna sobriety, I'd be open to hearing your thoughts, because I think that's really, really important. Then we'll get to the spiritual stuff with plant medicine after that.
Totally. Yeah. So what first comes to my mind is like even when I just do, gosh, when I'm doing recovery work, when I'm in the midst of a activating moment, when I am feeling activated by something, someone, whatever, I just know that I need to first things first, like breathe and move that energy out of my body. It cannot live there. I have to dance. I have to shake it out. I got to do something, whether that be like picking up the phone and calling a friend and talking and moving that energy, or dancing, or going and being of service of somehow. But get physical, get in community, get it out of your body. It's like for me, like knowing and being sensitive and attuned to energy, it really manifests in my body in very harsh ways. I can really feel my heart get like closed, or my stomach gets really anxious, and that's how I know I gotta move this stuff out, man. This can't live in my body. I gotta process it. So I'm really grateful that I have now a really awesome tool bag of different ways to get that energy out. Journaling, so many different options that I have now. And we get to break the don't talk, don't trust, don't feel rule that we were brought up with in doing so. This is part of the work.
Yeah, I love that. Can you say that again? So if people didn't hear what you said don't talk, don't trust, don't feel. I think that's profound. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. So growing up in a dysfunctional home, or in an alcoholic home, or whatever you resonate with, that is kind of like the unspoken rule: is do not talk about what's going on. Do not trust others. Don't reach out. Don't you dare reach out, and don't dare do what we're doing here right now. And don't you dare like repress those feelings. Don't get in touch with your feelings. Don't get in touch with your emotions. Do not, because danger. Right? But in recovery, we get to learn it's okay to talk. It's okay to reach out to a friend. It's okay to join in a meeting. It's okay to feel these repressed and unfelt emotions, the unexpressed grief, the burden of unexpressed grief. It's okay to start to feel those, name those emotions, and then do something about it. So,
Awesome.
yeah. Yep.
Beautiful. I want to acknowledge we have some live people on the live stream. So if you are joining us on the live, and if you're hearing this later, remember the party is always on YouTube live stream,
Cool.
Facebook, and LinkedIn. So I don't know where you are watching, but please comment below with questions. Comment below #live where you're tuning in from, city, state, country. We love to acknowledge. And if you do have questions with me or my guest, Natalie, we're talking about recovery today, and we're going to shortly talk about Natalie's journey through plant medicine and wellness, which I know might surprise some people in the recovery world. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But at the end of the day, you're right. Like for me, when I could look back when I got addicted to alcohol and social media big time, and just busyness, I was addicted to just being busy because I didn't want to feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
The unprocessed grief and trauma. So I remember I stopped working out because I had an ankle injury or something, and then just life happened. And that was the same year that I stopped running, which was my number one stress outlet, is when I went like all in on all of my addictions. And
Yeah.
so, and with you being a body worker, me being a personal trainer in my past life, we even kind of know better, but it's so easy to just even forget that. So having community, which is what I'm also hearing you say, where people can share, talk, move their body, all of that is so key. Breath work is a lot more popular now, and all of that, and just to be able to have a space to go and be yourself is so important. So I think that's great.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you. Thank you for saying that. Community is really at the heart of Sauna and Sobriety. In our mission statement, we say we know sobriety is a lifelong journey to be done in community. We can't do this alone.
Mm.
It's just not. that's recovery wasn't designed that way. We aren't designed that way. We got to be in community. So,
Beautiful.
yeah.
So beautiful. So we've talked a little bit about mental health. We're talking about the importance of the physical health.
Mhm.
And now, Natalie, are you ready to talk about plant medicine and a little bit about the journey with that?
Let's go. Let's do it. Yeah.
So I remember because, I've been open about this, I lost a brother to alcoholism. I was a closet alcoholic, and I've lost many people to addiction. And so I do remember when I first was told about plant medicine being the tool that thankfully was like my saving grace, because talk therapy, a lot of other things weren't working for me in that time. And I was headed for death and destruction of my own life. And so I remember people saying, well, be careful, they didn't call it plant medicine or even psychedelics. They said those substances now, those are dangerous, kind of like the old parent finger wag, when you're a little kid or going to church or whatever. And I was like, hey, at this point, I'm desperate. And I went all in, and it changed my life. It brought me back to inspiration. It brought me back to my own, spirituality. And it wasn't the same as what I was raised in, but it's my own, it's my truth. And through that process, I know why I'm here. I really connected with my life purpose. And I have seen people get addicted to plant medicine. So it is a slippery slope. And I know you were a little maybe hesitant. I'm going to let you tell your own story, but even when you started with microdosing with me last year, what was going through your mind?
I think I was more just like scared. I had never worked with plant medicine in such an intentional way. Didn't know necessarily what was going to come up. Didn't know necessarily where I was being led. Like, what's going on here? I think it was just scared of the unknown, really, is what it was going through. And probably a big fear of judgment, like big fear of what are people going to think later down the line when they hear I'm working, recovery program, but I'm working with plant medicine. So there has been some fear there as well, but also like what you said, this is my truth, this is my story, this is where I'm being led. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna live it. Yeah.
beautiful. And
Mhm.
how, in your own words, and as we'll first talk about microdosing, and then if it's okay, we'll talk about the deeper dive experience for you and what it created for you.
Sure.
Anything you remember or want to share about microdosing and how it expanded you mentally, physically, and spiritually?
Yeah, I'm like thinking back to the beautiful container that you created. You set an awesome container for me to actually get started in working with plant medicine. And at that time, we were working with Aya, which is awesome. So the heart opening aspect of Aya or was at that period in my life super necessary, very profound for me to get into that heart space, be held in a container with other people doing this, similar work, and daily meditation, getting into the practice of sitting with this medicine, meditating with myself and my intention with the medicine, journaling with this medicine, journaling with my body, going through the different experiences, going through and reflecting upon what was coming up for me. And yeah, all that came up for me. It was awesome. It definitely pushed me past my comfort zone, but it also helped me to do that with grace. Like, it helped me to go into my comfort or my past my comfort zone with more ease, with a more of an open heart and like availability to do that. So yeah.
Awesome,
Yeah.
beautiful. And
Mhm.
it didn't, and I hope you don't mind me asking this question, because I feel like some people might be curious. Like you said, there's sober curious. It didn't create for you any addiction or craving or what some people might call like backsliding.
Yeah, no, not for me. Not at all. And I think the way too that you set the container also it was very, very clear boundaries to me. I think you did a really good job of setting that very clear container of, okay, we're only going to do this much for this week, this much for this week. And Yeah, absolutely. Like I felt no need to like, okay, I'm gonna go sneak this tincture throughout the day because I'm feeling dependent on it now. No, it was like, okay, I have my time in the morning that I'm gonna work with the medicine, I'm gonna meditate and journal and then go about my day. And I'm gonna do this over, oh gosh, how long was that container? It was like 4 weeks, 6 weeks.
It was only, yeah, I was just gonna say it was only 4 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, yep.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And you're not still microdosing, right? It wasn't something that you needed to continue beyond that much.
Yeah, not necessarily. I actually have been feeling the call to start micro. Yeah. Yeah. So that could be another conversation, not on live. But yes, I do definitely feel the call. I know now after actually our, ceremony I sat in with you in May, I'm like, this hands down, I know this is the path that I need to be taking, that I want and I'm choosing to take with my recovery work. So if
Beautiful.
if that means microdosing, I I've heard you say this so many times. I trust the medicine. I trust when the medicine's calling me. I trust that it's time. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. That is a great little reminder. I wasn't planning on saying that, but I have
Mhm.
said it on my show, and I'm all about safety first, do no harm, not just like, working with the medicine and that's it. There's so many other layers. There's the meditation, the breath work, the
Mhm.
getting into the shadow work and the childhood stuff in a healthy, safe, supported way. Microdosing, in my opinion, at least if you want lasting, serious shifts and results, isn't a do-it-yourself thing. For all intensive purposes, just be safe. Just be safe about it and heed the call.
Yeah.
Don't just do it because your friend's doing it.
Yeah.
It's not like going and running a 5K. Oh yeah, I think my buddy's doing that. I'm going to go and die as I'm running and trying to go through this 5K thing, right? It's not a peer pressure program. It is a spiritual calling, a mental, physical, spiritual connection with the medicine. And I help people develop that. And so you had that microdosing experience and then you heeded the call for more in May of this year. What was that like for you?
Yeah, totally. So when you reached out to me, gosh, I can't even remember, and you shared with me, okay, this is happening in March or in May, we're coming. You want to join? Like you definitely extended the invitation, and I believe it was February that I was like, I know it's a yes. I just got to send her the payment. Let's go. Let's do it. Like, I don't know why yet it is a yes, but I know it's a yes. So I just trust fell into that and ended up joining in, and it was amazing and holy smokes transformational. And I feel I tell my friends, I feel like I'm still integrating, and I'm still like going back even before our call here. I was like reading back on some of the notes that you were like, okay, write this stuff down because you will forget most of it. And I'm really glad that I did because it some of the clarity that came through for me in why, I guess, if I'm just gonna like dive right in, if you don't mind me just like going for it. Okay. So with my intention in going into working with medicine with you in May, it was to like deconstruct or smooth out some of these like deep roots in or ruts in my brain that I had around will to live, I just want to be happy. I think I remember being on a call with you and saying, I just want to live. I just want to live. I don't want these nasty grooves in my mind anymore that are telling me you shouldn't want to live, you shouldn't deserve to live. All of this like, really scary big stuff. And going into ceremony, I remember just my intention being, I just want to heal from this. I just want to heal from this depression. I want to heal from this mental illness. I want to heal from this sickness that is within me that I feel like, yeah, again, there's these like deep grooves. And God, I know that there is something more. And I feel, I saw it through prayer and meditation, working my program. And God led me to you. God led me to say yes to the program. And so or to, sitting with you in ceremony. And so with that intention going into ceremony, it was scary, but some of the messages that I received in ceremony were like, oh, I was supposed to be uh, I was supposed to have these thoughts. I have been supposed to be, have these really dark thoughts of, suicidal ideation, depression, mental anxiety, so that Christ could shine through me, so that I could overcome and conquer with recovery, with the use of plant medicine, with community, with, working in all these different holistic aspects in my life, so that Christ could really just move through me and say, listen, there is a whole other world over here, and it's awesome, and we deserve to live. We should be able to want to live. Christ says we get to have life and experience it abundantly. And I remember saying that in one of my ACA meetings, like, he did not die so I could have these painful thoughts. So I should have to feel like I shouldn't live, so I shouldn't be alive constantly. And going into ceremony with the intention of rewiring these grooves in my brain, rewiring this these painful thoughts. It's like I got clarity on the purpose of why I actually have been living with these painful thoughts, why I have been, God has actually allowed me to experience these painful experiences up until now, and to learn how to work through them using recovery, working with plant medicine, working with not just pills to, cover up my, to cover up, to not be able to not go deep within the work, but to actually do the shadow work, move through, overcome, and conquer. And so that I could, again, extend my hand out to others that are going through and experiencing the mental turmoil that I understand. I get it. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
that ceremony, like, I am still integrating the shifts that came through that ceremony. And also I love I think it was, I don't remember how many days ago, or when it was, but you said this quote from, I believe it was Rumi, that was saying, two very important days in your life are when you're, is that, when
Yep, I
you,
just put it on the
yep.
screen.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mark Twain. Okay, the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. So I've been really resonating with that lately as I've been reflecting upon our going into ceremony. So, I can't express my gratitude enough for it.
And you're a living testimony to what's possible, and that's our goal with plant medicine. Me and my husband, as we serve together, is to help you remember who you truly are, to help you peel back those grooves and those layers, those shadows. It's really a key, because that's not who we are. We
Right.
That's why I don't like labels. If we start to believe that we're that, um, then guess what? It's true. Words matter, labels matter, identity matters, and who you are is a beautiful spark of divine God, divine, whatever people believe. I always remind people we aren't religious, we're spiritual, and honoring people wherever you are at, whatever spirit means to you is perfect,
Mhm.
for us to be able to help you also break free from some of those other labels and dogmas and judgments and things that I know have wounded a lot of people. And your
That,
life sentence. Oh, go ahead.
oh,
Go ahead.
oh, okay. I was going to say that's something, yeah, in ACA, I love that. And any 12-step group, really, they say, this is a spiritual program. This is not a religious program. This is a spiritual program coming out of action, or based on action coming from love. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And how has your life been more, better, different since May?
Well, gosh, I honestly, and I was actually reflecting on this a few weeks ago. I was sharing with my friend. I have not felt depressed in the way that I have previously. So prayer answered, like it, and I
Mm,
know, yeah, it's pretty incredible. I feel like the medicine really helped me. I mean, so much, but also that
mm.
heart opening aspect to plant medicine, coming back to remembering who I am, and also just releasing that energy, releasing the burden of this heavy energy. I just, yeah, I don't feel it anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a woman that has a menstrual cycle, so there are times in the month when I'm more hormonally whacked, but I don't feel the same depression that I did before May, and I didn't even realize it until a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, wait, is this real? Am I this okay? Wow. I didn't realize actually how energetically potent it was and continues to be. So,
Amazing,
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, you're the third episode this week for this Suicide and Recovery Awareness Month, and the first one was a gentleman who sat with me just a
Mhm.
combo session in December, and he came to help heal his loneliness, and he hasn't felt lonely since January, I guess you'd say. So it is for me. It is also about hopefully if you're listening to this and you've worked with plant medicine and you haven't gotten lasting results, I would really ask you to consider looking at that. And I'm not saying that me and my husband are the only people that you should work with or nothing like that, but the whole idea when you're committing to this deep shadow work in the mind body spirit medicine that you and I have been talking about this whole episode,
Mhm.
if you're not getting lasting changing results, then there's something that's either not done right, or I don't know if that's not the right phrase because I don't want to sound whatever, but it is about getting it and keeping the results so that your life is changed. Does that make sense, Natalie? Am I
Yes,
making
no,
sense?
it totally makes sense. The word, maybe there's something missing. And to add upon that too, it's not that I like, yes, the depression has like this energy has been lifted and like keep doing the work. I've continued to still do the work, right? Of course. This isn't, I
There's no
mean,
quick fix. There's no quick
there's
fix
no
or
quick
magic
fix.
pill. Yeah, yeah,
Yep. And so with that too, I will also going back to Sauna and Sobriety, I really felt strongly to start my own ACA meeting here in Minneapolis. And it was totally a God-led thing. And so I have this meeting. This meeting is available Monday nights where I share about it at Sauna and Sobriety. And so if you are working like I mean, Magdalena, I want to work in tandem with you. I'm like, if people are working with you, come to Monday Night ACA. I feel like ACA has just changed my life in such a great way. Working with plant medicine has changed my life in such profound ways, and blending these two modalities or healing, treatments, I guess, or medicine. This is medicine.
yeah.
It's powerful. And it works if you work it. And if you keep working it, keep going, keep at it. It's not a quick fix, but you're worth it. So keep coming back.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
not a it's not a there's a never ending journey of healing.
No.
I'm still peeling back the layers of my own addiction journey, my own grief journey. I'm always transparent in sharing that with people. In fact, if I'm going to mention this because you're in Minnesota, and if people are watching this that are your friends, or just you can be anywhere in the world. My next shamanic initiation program, it's an 8-week program. Like when Natalie did that, it wasn't just a ceremony, it
Right.
was a program. So we spend about 30 days with one-on-one coaching and group coaching, and a lot of there's homework. There's actually a book as a shadow work and workbook journal that I'm having this particular group go through. Then there's a 48-hour retreat. It happens to be in Minnesota. And then there's another 30 days of integration. Integrate means to make whole and complete of the experience so that you have the tools, you have more light in your body, because it's the idea behind a shamanic initiation. You're not becoming shamans, by the way. You're not becoming practitioners, by the way. It's the idea of it is a death a rebirth, and a renewal. So we'll have day one is going to be the death day, where you're letting go of the shadows, you're acknowledging them, you're thanking, you're like having your own funeral for your shadows. Then the day two is going to be the rebirth. Day three is going to be the renewal and integration piece. And then you have the 30 days of coaching. So you can fly into Minneapolis, you can be in Minneapolis, or however. We have just a couple spots left. So at the time of this recording, it's September 6th, and ideally people would sign up and pay a deposit by October 1st. Ideally even sooner than that, because the current participants already have started the shadow work. They've already started the heavy lifting. And so if you're like Natalie, wanting to get a massive shift and like an opening and more light in your body and prepare for 2025, which is supposed to be another very intense, dense year, definitely reach out to me. You can go to email me if you would like. I have my email that I'm going to throw up on the screen is info@lotusthronesanctuary.org. That right now I'm focusing on the suicide awareness and recovery awareness. If you're in that camp, this could be a life-saving program, just like, what Natalie was talking about, what she was able to reprogram in her mind, open her heart, and really connect the two and be more on fire for her purpose in her life, and embrace those shadows, those pain points, those whatever you want to call them, the guilt, the shame, the depression, the anxiety. They have a purpose. It's just we often don't get to talk about it and get to process it in that mental, physical, spiritual way. And that's our hope and our wish. So reach out to me if anybody has questions about that.
So
Is there anything else that you want to share that is on your heart, Natalie, as we start to wrap it up?
I guess I'm just feeling inspired to say, just keep going. You're worth it. You're worth it. There's a reason you're supposed to be alive. And I'm just so grateful for the work that you are doing and for the work that so many people are doing to, uncover the shadow, work through the unprocessed trauma, so that we can move up spiritually, move up in frequency, to live in a realm of love, of unity, oneness, this higher dimensional being, where we've transmuted the dark and alchemized it into this awesome new dimension. So thank you so much for what you and for what many others on this planet are doing right now. It's very inspiring. Really grateful for you. And I'll leave it at that.
Yay. Well,
Keep
we're so
going.
grateful. We're so grateful for you. I have one more question for you. I just want to make a quick announcement. Reminder, you're going to hear this over and over again on every episode this month. If you are able to attend in person, fantastic, but we also have a live stream September 21st. Natalie's going to be at my November event in Minnesota. You'll be hearing more about that. It's also on my website. So if you go to lotusthronesanctuary.org and go to the events tab, September 21st is our big San Diego event. November 3rd, which is Day of the Dead weekend, is the big one in Minneapolis. That will also be online. It's going to be a hybrid. So if you have anyone that's connected to suicide or addiction, if you've lost someone to suicide or addiction, maybe you're struggling with either or both, like Natalie and I have, please come attend on the live stream. It's free if you attend on the live stream. Of course, we would like donations of financial persuasion, but we also are open to just hearing stories and having people reach out. Eventually, we'll have scholarships and have people apply to be able to go through some of the same healing, but also with referral partners that we are amassing that can help you hold yourself and move through these emotions, these shadows, these grief-stricken bodies that always happen when someone dies, but especially when someone dies in such a tragic way like suicide or addiction. Just a reminder, our mission is to break the generational cycles, because we see how these things tend to run in the family, and break those cycles of addiction and suicide and be the change we want to see in the world by opening up people's hearts and minds to the topics. Because like she said earlier, don't talk about it, right? Just sweep it under the rug. That was what most of us were raised with. And unfortunately, of my 12 friends who died, I think most of them felt like they had no voice. We're wearing masks. Again, I was in that exact same space. And so it makes a lot of sense. And it doesn't have to hurt. We want to celebrate people's lives that we've lost and come together in community and be able to love one another and hold each other and walk, walk our way home together and have compassion and support, as opposed to feeling alone, isolated, and not wanting to talk about it. So if you saw value in today's show, please hit the share button. And if you want to attend, the information for the live stream and the actual in-person event on September 21st and November 3rd is all at magdalenagrace.com. Just look for the correct hyperlink and you'll have all the information, whether you want to donate, show up, attend, virtually or in person. We just appreciate your consideration. So with that note, Natalie, one last question here before I let you go. As most people know, it's obvious my show is called Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. When I had that name downloaded to me in 2020, it had a lot of meaning to me. And I always like to close the show asking my guests, what does healthy and wealthy and wise mean for you?
Healthy and wealthy and wise. Well, I feel like healthy is like integration of all aspects of thyself. Wealthy is healthy and wealthy and wise. When we do this, when we integrate, when we're integrating all these parts of ourselves and having compassion and having love and loving ourselves, really seeing ourselves as God sees us, we're able to live in a more abundant life. I've again, even this past week, just been really being shown that God wants us to have an abundant life, and that is financial as well. And when you give, you receive as well, but giving out of that abundance of this is all just this isn't mine necessarily to hold on to. So to give, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Keep going when it hurts, keep going when it sucks, keep going when you don't want to keep going, reach out, call a friend. That's the immediate response that comes to my mind. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for honoring us with your beautiful message and love and light today, Natalie, and your encouragement. Will be here on the YouTube and all of the channels for years to come. So until next time, guys, we do have a couple powerful episodes next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, back-to-back days. Tuesdays, Amy Aarons. She's a mental health advocate. She's the owner of Live, Laugh, Love with Amy. She did lose her mom to suicide, and so she's going to talk about how that impacted her life and her story. And then on Wednesday, Frank King, the mental health comedian, everyone loves him. He's like, I don't know, 10 times he's done TEDx talk. He used to write for the Tonight Show back in the 80s, and he, of course, survived suicidal attempts of his own. So he's got a very powerful story. And the next Friday, Mark Van Her, again, another repeat guest, same as Frank. He was the founder of the Beautiful Mind Project in Minnesota. Yeah, sure. And he's got an amazing story with his own mental health and suicide. So next week is going to be powerful. Please subscribe and tune in and share these messages on the website with people. The whole lineup for the whole month, you could find that also at magdalenagrace.com. So until next time, everyone, here's to your best health, your best wealth by trusting your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.